It's the second time in less than a week. Think about that. The outage happened around 4 in the morning and lasted about 90 seconds. And yes, you can certainly argue, well, not many flights are coming and going at 4 in the morning. But these blackouts are happening at random times. There's no rhyme, there's no reason, and that has a lot of people scared. And there was also another close call just minutes later. Listen to this.
FedEx 1989, I hand you off here. Our scopes just went black again. If you care about this, contact your airline and try to get some pressure for them to fix this stuff. New York departure now, 120.8.
120.8, sorry to hear about that. FedEx 1989 switching, good luck guys.
So when air traffic controllers are feeling so helpless that they're asking pilots to step in, how safe do you feel? The White House is well aware of this issue.
That glitch was caused by the same telecoms and software issues that were raised last week. Everything went back online after the brief outage, and there was no operational impact. DOT and the FAA are working to address this technical issue tonight to prevent further outages, as well as install new fiber from Newark Airport to Philadelphia.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says, look, enough is enough. His department now has a plan to fix this system that's actually been in decline, if we're being honest, for decades. Replacing outdated telecommunications is the top priority. They want new fiber lines and satellite technology. Believe it or not, listen to this. Some programs are still being operated on floppy disks. Remember those? Duffy says the department has actually come to rely on eBay for parts, because they're so old, manufacturers can't even make them anymore. I know this sounds like a joke. I'm not making this stuff up. The plan is to install more than 600 new radar systems and surface detection equipment that will be added to runways across the country to alert the air traffic control tower when an aircraft isn't where it's supposed to be. And at least 6 new air traffic control centers will also be built. Look, the goal is to have this all done by the year 2028. But in order to do that, it's going to take money, a lot of money. But the cost should never compromise safety. Listen here.
We need all of the money up front. So I'm going to ask the Congress for upfront appropriations to give us all the money. I'll come before the Congress every quarter and give them an update of how far we've built, how much money we've spent. They can pressure test what's been done to do the oversight to make sure we're doing this correctly.
So there's a plan in place, but what do we do right now? Nearly 3 million people board a flight every day here in the United States, and we expect to take off and return home safely, right? So let's dive into this further now with Billy Nolan. He's former acting FAA administrator. Billy, thank you for being here. 2 radar outages in less than a week. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, Chris, first, thank you for having me on tonight. What I would say is, the bottom line up front is what I would say to the flying public, to the American people, that our system is safe, but it's also fragile, as evidenced, just as you indicated by, you've had 2 failures within a fairly short period of time, one on the 28th and this one just at 3:55 this morning. So, I'm in full support of the effort and the leadership by Secretary Duffy, DOT, and Acting Administrator Chris Rochelle at the FAA, and all those men and women, right? As the Secretary said, this is something that's pretty amazing. I've been a pilot for 45 years and been an executive at, 3 airlines, and certainly having run the FAA, of bringing together airlines, labor, certainly the administration, stakeholders, to say, we got to get this fixed, and we got to get it fixed now. The American people deserve it, and it is our goal to make sure that they have the very best system in the world.
You say it's safe, but it's fragile. And when we hear it's fragile, people, they get worried, right? How often does this happen? Does it happen more often than we realize?
No, it doesn't. The system, so our system, our aviation system, it's, one of the reasons we've gotten so safe. You look at what's happening. This has been kind of an interesting 4 months to this year, right? But you look back and all of the safety gains that we have and that we enjoy, we've got layers in the system, right? As your reporting shows, right? You've got things that happen. My understanding is that while the radar went out for about 90 seconds, that the communication was only out for a few seconds. So but none of this is what the public expects. I was, of my 26 and a half years of flying, I was the captain for 16 of that. And I know the folks that I flew are expecting that the system they're in is there to provide layers and there to provide protection. So, we're at this moment where what we've had is we've had an era of incrementalism where across multiple decades, just as you said, right, we've had a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, right? When I was acting administrator, I had a budget of about $24 billion. About $5 of that was for infrastructure improvement. But if you look at what the secretary has outlined, we really need millions and tens of millions of dollars to give the American public and America the very best, air transportation and FAA system in the world. And that should be something that we're all vested in.
Absolutely. And what that may come down to is we may be paying more to fly, right?
Well, it could be that, but I would say, Congress has been really good. I was at a luncheon that Senator Cruz spoke at back in February, and it came less than a month after the horrific crash that happened on January 29th. Mm-hmm. And I love what he said, because he says, I'm ready to roll up my sleeve. I'm ready to work, not only across the aisle, but with the administration, with industry, to give the FAA the funds that it needs. Congressman Sam Graves, who chairs the House T&I committee, and Rick Larson, the ranking member, everybody is saying the same thing. So we've got the will there. We've got the industry coming together. We've got not only the secretary, but we've got the president said, look, I am prepared to give America and build the very best system that will support us for the next 3 to 5 decades. So, now's the time it's no more time for theatrics and that stuff. We just got to get to work. And I'm very proud of where Secretary Duffy stands and the work that he's planning to do. Mm-hmm. And we are fully supportive of it.
Real quick, some people have suggested that maybe the air traffic control system should be taken out of the FAA's hands and be operated like a public utility, privatize the system. What do you say of that?
No, look, there are lots of models out there around the world. Mm-hmm. Some folks have gone that. Our system is so big, so complex. Remember, it supports our nation's military. We fly on average between 45 and 50,000 flights a day. And that's just the commercial flights that all of us fly on every day. So it's complex. Let's do it right. We're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. So I think the plan that the secretary's articulated is a very, very good one. So let's roll up our sleeve. Let's support him, and let's get this done.
Yeah, we need to get it done, because when people hear that we're using floppy disks and buying parts on eBay, they're scratching their head thinking, come on, man. Come on.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Chris.
Billy Nolan, thank you for your insight and your time tonight. We do appreciate it.